समोह
प्रणस्तस्ते धनंजय Mataji, would you like to lead? We're going to follow you. Go ahead.
Kaschit etar shrutam partha.
Kaschit etar shrutam partha.
Avekagrena chetasa.
Vekagrena chetasa.
Kaschit agnan samoha.
Kaschit ajnana sammoha.
Pranashtate dhananjaya.
Pranastaste dhananjaya. Thank you. Anyone else?
Kaschit etat shutam partha.
Kaschit etam shrutam partha.
Tat aikagrena chetasa.
Vaikagrena chetasa.
Kaschit ajnana sammoha.
Kaschit ajnana sammoha.
Pranastaste dhananjaya.
Pranastaste dhananjaya.
etam shrutam partha
Kaschit etam shrutam partha.
Vaikagrena chetasa
Tvayekagrena chetasa.
Kaschit ajnana sammoha
Kaschit ajnana sammoha.
Pranashtaste dhananjaya.
Pranastaste dhananjaya. Thank you very much for leading. Word by word meaning. Kaschit, whether.
Veda.
Etat, this. Shrutam, heard.
Shrutam, heard.
Partha, O son of Pritha.
Partha, O son of Pritha.
Tvaya, by you.
Tvaya, by you.
Ekagrena, with full attention.
Ekagrena, by full attention.
Chetasa, by the mind.
Chetasa, by the mind.
Kaschit, whether.
Kaschit,
Agyana, of ignorance.
Ajnana, of ignorance.
Sammoha, the illusion.
Sammoha, the
Pranasta, dispelled.
pranashta, dispelled.
Te, of you.
They of you.
Dhananjaya, O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna.
Dhananjaya, O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai.
Okay.
O son of Pritha.
O son of Pritha.
O conqueror of wealth.
O conqueror of wealth.
Have you heard this with an attentive mind?
Have you heard this with attentive mind?
And are you ignorance and illusions are now dispelled?
Are you ignorance or illusion are not dispelled?
Thank you very much. I'll read the purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Okay.
The Lord was acting as the spiritual master of Arjuna. Therefore, it was his duty to inquire from Arjuna whether he understood the whole Bhagavad Gita as in its proper perspective. If not, the Lord was ready to re-explain any point or the whole Bhagavad Gita if so required. Actually, anyone who hears Bhagavad Gita from a bona fide spiritual master like Krishna or his representative will find that all his ignorance is dispelled. Bhagavad Gita is not an ordinary book written by a poet or fiction writer. It is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any person fortunate enough to hear these teachings from Krishna or from his bona fide spiritual representative is sure to become a liberated person and get out of the darkness of ignorance. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasme Sri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapadakkamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमो। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाश आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Lachal Nivasa Nitya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhya Jagannatha Yate Namo. So thank you so much for joining this wonderful Sangha every weekday evening, Bhagavad Gita systematic study. So now we are in the 18th chapter, which is actually getting to the conclusion, wherein Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is summarizing the Bhagavad Gita. By 17, he has pretty much made a statement of what he wanted to convey. In the 14th, he's actually summarizing it. And now he's summarizing the perfection of renunciation. So here, after summarizing in the 72nd, Lord Krishna is asking Arjuna, hey Arjuna, have you listened to me carefully? Have you listened to me with ekagrena? Ekagrena means with full attention. Have you listened to me, whatever I have said? And do you still have ignorance based on what I have taught? Are you still ignorant? Or are you still dispelled? Is your thoughts are illusory? Are you totally dispelled? So he's inquiring, So and in doing so, what Krishna is stating here is what a perfect teacher has to be. A perfect teacher, when he's basically telling something to his subjects or his disciples, he shouldn't be saying, hey, I have taught this to you. Look at chapter 3, the middle section of chapter 3. Follow that. I'll give questions on the same topic in the exam and you will get good marks. He's not saying that. He's saying, have you understood it fully? So here we have to recognize Krishna's care for his devotees to ensure that whatever has been told, and Srila Prabhupada is taking it to a different level. He's saying that if if Arjuna would have said, I have not listened to you carefully, Krishna would have re-explained any point. So that is the care what a teacher should go through. The teacher should make sure, even if the teachers may not be well paid in whatever capacity, but there should be no envy in a teacher in explaining the truth and the subject to the devotee or the subject to the students. And when they end up doing that, they should make sure that the subjects have understood it accurately. And that is the reason why Srila Prabhupada is making a point that Bhagavad Gita is not a poetic rendition or something which is thought through from somebody's figment of imagination and is told to you. So it can be explained in many different ways. But a acharya or the person who is explaining a concept should make sure the students have got it right. And in our movement, in our sampradaya, we had so many wonderful teachers who have taken to explaining Krishna consciousness with a view that the subjects have got it. So today we're going to discuss about the traits of a great teacher, as to how a teacher should end up conveying the message to the kid. So we'll focus on this particular spirit of this verse, and we'll not try to go astray by talking about other things. We'll stay with the teaching capability of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where with so much of care he's asking. Most of the time you'll see in various different courses in universities, the teacher will just finish the course. The entire 6 month of semester would be finished in 2 months. They will basically run through it. They will just somehow cover it. They don't really care. It's not no direct complaint or whatever, but I'm just trying to compare and contrast with how the caring teacher often gives the message to the kid. When the caring teacher gives message to the kid, he asks a question that, have you understood it? Have you? So most of the time, if you look at your engineering or medicine, they will teach you, and by the time you run into the industry, you'll realize that some of the skills they taught you is pretty much not fully baked. The struggle in the industry, we see that day in, day out. This is precisely because a good teacher has not probed the kid in a way where they have asked, have you done the subject acquisition from me in ekagrena with full attention? And 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 uh, and the reason why in Krishna consciousness, the teaching which basically comes to the disciplic succession has to be understood with the right context. So they will teach Bhagavad Gita, and finally, the person will say, "Hey, I have understood Bhagavad Gita. Now what?" Then the ISKCON temples will say, "Now that you have understood Bhagavad Gita, or even if you are in the process of understanding Bhagavad Gita, go chant." So the person says, "Why chanting is so important? Why calling the name of the Lord is so important? Why surrendering to the name of the Lord is so important?" That's the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. If you see the sampradayas which are not regulated, sampradayas who are not bona fide in nature, they will not be emphasizing on many things which Krishna has said. You'll see so many people, they will say, "Oh, yeah, the Bhagavad Gita is in my heart." But when you take Bhagavad Gita into your heart, apply it, realize it, and do it, implement in your day in, day out, that is when you relish the importance of these verses. If you just say, "I like Bhagavad Gita, it's something which I can cherish," but if you have not undertaken the full internalization of the activity, you're not really going to appreciate it. So that's the reason why when we end up saying to others to chant, that's actually the practical implementation of what we all have. So the ekagrena, the full attention, ability to hear Bhagavad Gita with full attention and taking the spirit of Bhagavad Gita and applying it in our life is important. That's why Krishna is so caring in asking Arjuna that, have you truly understood it? If you have not understood it, I'm going to make you understand again. And immediately after that, Krishna Arjuna says in the next verse, which I'm not going to take away any thunder from the next speaker, who is going to come tomorrow and explain this, but he nicely says, Nasta moho shmiti labdha twadda prasada mayachita. That means he has understood everything. So this is the U-turn we all have to do as a teacher. Whenever you let somebody drive a car or you let somebody understand some of the concepts, we have to probe them, have they truly understood it. The ability to give education or imparting knowledge doesn't end with just one-sided way or one way. Bhagavad Gita is a frequently asked question, and every time you give the right answer and you dwell on it more and more, and you speak the same words, you hear the same words, you get a different form of nectar, because Krishna consciousness is a multifaceted way to connect with devotees, and you don't know to which chord you're going to connect. So always staying in the confines and hearing again and again and speaking again and again, and with the devotees, the all these 17 devotees who are now signed up and are hearing, and we all are discussing this, will are different. They are all made up of different components. Their ability to introspect this verse is different. That's the reason why Bhagavad Gita, when it is understood, spoken, heard in different times, they all yield different results. And if you look at some of our acharyas, like Srila Prabhupada, for example, wake up 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, write the translation, do the chanting around Tulsi Maharani. And then Prabhupada will go out on a walk. And around the walk, he will be constantly probing, whatever concepts I've told you, have you understood it? And there will be a tape recorder, and you might have seen the conversation. The conversation is basically ensuring the fact that the disciples have understood the message accurately or not. And there'll be some conversation in Juhu Beach when Srila Prabhupada was in Bombay, and there will be a lot of garden walks, morning walks. You'll see, and Srila Prabhupada will be taking the verse to a practical level, and he will be making sure that the disciples have understood it with ekagrena, with ekagra chitta. That means with, and there is no illusion. So Krishna consciousness is a process. It is very easy to get confused. But after hearing Bhagavad Gita for so many days, if you see somebody posturing that he has understood everything, he is God-like, then you realize that he has not understood the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Essence of Bhagavad Gita is eventually culminating. There was a very powerful verse which was spoken some time back, is to eventually surrender. If after reading Bhagavad Gita, there are God men around us who are probing and who are basically claiming themselves to be God, they have truly not understood Bhagavad Gita, because nowhere in the Bhagavad Gita you have traces of that. And of course, there are some past times in Srila Prabhupada's movement where somebody emotionally felt, Srila Prabhupada is Krishna himself, and he was asked to leave ISKCON. And there it is well documented in the ISKCON chronicles. So the point here is, if we have understood Bhagavad Gita, and if your mind has taken to Bhagavad Gita into our hearts, and it doesn't triggers an element of devotional service or trying to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chant the names of the holy name of the Lord, we probably have to look at the Bhagavad Gita's concepts once again, where we have to have no illusion after the end of the Bhagavad Gita's discussion. And that is where, if you see, Krishna asked this question as a spiritual master, not as a friend in this case. And as a spiritual master, it was his duty to know if Arjuna understood Bhagavad Gita in true perspective. He is expecting the result of hearing if the ignorance illusion is dispelled. And Srila Prabhupada is saying it's not an ordinary book. So it is not based on somebody's imagination that you can go and. So everybody have to get to a conclusion at the end of Bhagavad Gita, is there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes you will hear things which is mentioned in various different places. This person is a self-made man. He did everything by his own. He opened up a big industry of his own. That itself is a flawed statement. The reason why he cannot even stand on his own if the Mother Earth is not going to support. There are so many elements in this because of which he's living in this world, because there is a soul inside him. And so people do not go out of the way to recognize the importance of the spiritual concepts, which is exactly why you'll hear statements like he's a self-made man, he has did everything by himself. There is nothing we can do by ourselves. We cannot have a leaf uh, who can um, shake without the ordinance of the 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 wind god. And the wind god is basically taking instructions from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we recognize our life, our subjects, our understanding from the surrendering attitude we have towards somebody who is supreme, he has created this wonderful universe, plants, uh, mountains, and they all coexist together in the mother nature, and we do our deeds based on humility, then we have understood the greater cause. And that is where how great a teacher is understood. And so in order to recognize a teaching capability, we have an example which I'm sharing right now, which you are seeing on the screen. So what is happening is there is a king whose name is Chitraketu. This king Chitraketu doesn't have any kids, and in order to get more kids, because he thinks without kid the life is difficult, there is no point in life without kids, he gets married again and again. He has hundreds of wives, and he still doesn't get a kid. So he is lamenting all the time. He is He's in so much of sadness, and with so much of sadness, he's crying every day, and his wives are barren, and he doesn't have any kids. So uh, so one day, he's in so much of sadness. Um, he had a visitor. He happens to be Angira Rishi, who was he's one of the original sages in this material world created by Brahmaji. And Angira Rishi came and he served Angira Rishi, and he showed his dire need for a son, because without the son, his life with so many wives is fruitless. At that time, Angira Rishi mentioned that this kid you are asking for is going to be the cause of your happiness and your sadness. You're going to lament. But still, at that time, Chitraketu was not willing to understand the importance of this life. This life, we as the we are not the body, we are the soul, and the relationships. And so he accepted, and his eldest queen after that gave birth to a boy, to a beautiful boy. And when this boy came, the other queens, they became very sad. They realized that Chitraketu, the king, is giving a lot of importance to the first wife, and there was so much of envy, and the kid was was growing up. He was very beautiful, but the other queens cannot stand Chitraketu's longing for his wife who gave a child. And finally, after some time, when it became very unbearable, one of the other queen, gave poison to this kid, and this kid died. And when this kid died, Chitraketu was totally crying, and the queen, whose kid was this beautiful boy, they started crying. And at the time, Narad Muni and Angira Rishi arrived and gave the life lesson we all are yearning towards. He said, this father son relationship, thinking that you have a progeny, and that progeny is going to create another generation for you, and another generation for you, another generation for you, is very, very temporary. This life, you are the father. In the other life, this kid will have other father. So this father kid relationship is very, 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 very temporary. And it's a very high conscious pastime. We have to understand in that context. We all have duties to our father and mother, but this relationship, this lamentation we have for a son or a daughter, is we have to go beyond that in understanding the grand plans and the greater consciousness of the Supreme Personality of God. So when Narad Muni, his way of teaching started getting the into Chitraketu, Narad Muni said, I can make your life come back to life, but you're basically stopping a free soul from moving across. You're really trying to control it. The soul is very happy somewhere else because he has already moved on. But by you lamenting, you're making the soul cringe in your ability to provide happiness to the soul. And after some time, the kid gets his life back, and in the meantime, they had some exchanges. But this pastime by Narad Muni, Narad Muni is our acharya, our sampradaya um, is uh, is based on Narad Muni's teaching. He is actually our number one acharya, and his way of teaching, in his ability to ask a question, pose something, give birth, and that birth was a barren family with no kids planned. But in order to teach a lesson to in a way which is which makes you come closer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by teaching you a lesson and not get caught up with the myriads of this material life where you're bound by the father, mother, kids. And we all have sentiments. That's the reason why we have to unshackle it and get into the consciousness which is put forth, because we are not the body, we are the soul. And during that episode when the kids comes back and then Narad Muni explains as the greatest teacher, uh, exactly like that. So and finally Chitraketu recognizes that that my family, I'm destined to be childless, and the child leaves finally. But the point here is the teachers have a way to explain that, and Narad Muni's way of glorifying Lord Krishna's prasad or Jagannath's prasad, and how he goes all around to Lord Shiva, Parvati, and how the glories of Mahaprasad, where Lord Jagannath's first remnants is given to Vimala Devi, and eventually that becomes Mahaprasad. And likewise, Narad Muni has a unique way of teaching Krishna consciousness to the subjects. And here in this beautiful pastime, he is teaching King Chitraketu a lesson that these relationships are very, very temporary. So very complicated topic, but with the great teachings of Narad Muni or our Sampradaya, our Srila Prabhupada going on morning works, it clearly explains the message which Lord Krishna is trying to ask. And immediately after that, Arjuna gets up with the Gandiv and is ready to fight. The Bhagavad Gita is coming to an end in few days, but Arjuna has got the message because he has been taught by the greatest teacher in the world, and he has been the greatest student of the world by accepting. And immediately all the doubts about Bhishma, Drona, Karna goes away, and the lamentation or the um, difficulty he was having, that these are relatives and if I kill them I'll have trouble, this that is gone. And immediately Lord Krishna has given the right instruction and teachings to the greatest student of the world to get ready to fight the greatest battle in the whole world. And now Arjuna is going to unleash through his arrow, because he has understood everything. And that is the hallmark of a great teacher as to how we should imbibe the concepts, the difficult uh, realizations, so that the student gets the best and he's ready for the real time, for the prime time event. And he so that is how we should teach our kids, so that when they stand up, they learn bicycle or learn, they're actually ready to lead the life. This material life is a lot of difficult terrains, but by staying and getting to learn from the gurus of our movement, Narad Muni being our primary guru, and in that chain we have Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada has made sure that all his disciples have got nothing but the best in terms of concepts, uh, implementations of Bhagavad Gita, and made them ready to lead a movement which will go thousands of years. And we all have confidence in the knowledge acquisition, and that is how teachers are so important things. And here Krishna is ensuring, is trying to make sure, Arjuna, have you understood? Have you done it with full attention? Are you still having ignorant thoughts? Is your illusion dispelled? If not, I'm going to restart my Bhagavad Gita lessons to you. And Arjuna clearly has accepted the greatest teacher's teachings, and he's implementing it right away by lifting the bow and arrow to unleash. So with that, I'd like to end here. wonderful verse as to how to teach, how to be a model teacher, what are the traits of exalted teacher, and how we can learn in our ways to teach whatever we want to teach in whatever ways a service given. That's the reason why giving a service and explaining the service, the communication in giving up a service is so important. The communication has to be so clear that, like Arjuna, our service providers on the day of festivals are ready. There is no confusion, because the person who has given the task, the person who is actually driving the everything should fall in place in his mind, has given a message which is clear. And we should get a lot of Arjunas during our events, so that everything is connected and we give a great devotional experience during festivals. So a lot to learn, how to give non-confusing messages, how to be a great teacher in our ability to impart whatever we are trying to impact. And by asking whether you have understood this, by asking in a way, in a typical way, by which we have got all the areas covered. So with that, I'd like to end here. We can go on and on by glorifying Lord Krishna as a teacher, but I'd like to hear your comments, corrections, and reflection. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Any question, comments? Any reflections, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Anything which you want to share about this verse, about how the final sets of verses are becoming, all coming together to you? Any thoughts?
That's why we say Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Para Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. That's why our sloka is there. That is supporting what you said today.
Right, Mataji, right. Yes, yes. Guru is like Sakshat Param Brahma. Very nice, very nice.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanavad Prabhu, all good Prabhupada, all glories to you.
Krishna.
Jagannath Prabhu, very nice class, Prabhu. Just like I want to inquire you one thing, we see that here the disciples and Guru both are serious, and that's where the Krishna inquiring, do you satisfied with the knowledge or still you have a doubt? And we see that Arjun replied, no, my all the doubt dispelled now. I come in my real position and I'm ready to do my duty. So the similar way, how do we feel or realize how to become the serious and whatever we understood, in our situation, especially I'm considering my case, we understand then forget. So how to come in that situation, like, you once establish your position, don't forget it and become a serious.
Right. So great question, Prabhu. So as we saw, Krishna is a perfect teacher and Arjuna is a perfect student. So when we are acquiring knowledge, our aspiration should be like how to become like Arjuna in our ability to surrender, our ability to ask the right question, our ability to ask question in a manner which is not direct and insulting or challenging to the teacher, and how we can grow. And if we do not accept certain things based on what our teachers are telling, we can nicely ask so that our doubts are cleared. Our intent of asking a question is not to challenge the teacher, but to make sure we are clear in our thought process. Sometimes what happens is, in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, we do not believe that this chanting of this holy name is good enough To tell you the truth, many devotees who have come to Krishna consciousness haven't understood uh, the power of chanting the holy name, and it's fine, because this world is full of confusing things. So your question is how to become a good student in our ability to receive the things. So the way I would give an example, Prabhu, if a is sponge, you have squeezed the sponge and there is no water, then the ability for the sponge to take more water is more than if you have a lot of puffed upness, a lot of ahankar, lot of challenging attitude. We will never be able to take up the directions. So that's why they say we should chant with a simple heart, the heart which is as soft as makhan, so that Krishna can come and reside in our hearts. If our heart is full of impurities, Krishna is not going to come. Krishna has other places to go around. That's the reason why it becomes a very difficult uh, journey when we start taking into Krishna consciousness, when we are not very clear, we have full of puffed upness, we have a arguing tendency. We always look for our benefits, but as you interact with devotees, as it gradually comes out, and let's give the time to it. Let's not try to change. That will make us more realized. So to answer your question, more receptive we are, more less ahankar we have, more humility we have, if we will accept. And sometimes you will see that there are some devotees who have no traits, but they end up becoming great preachers. There are many God brothers of Srila Prabhupada who were there, who were taking to Krishna consciousness. They're nice sannyasis. But Srila Prabhupada took that message and he did everything possible uh, by going and Jaladuta, this, that. That's the reason why he could restart the devotional practice in around the whole world. And so our ability to foster Krishna consciousness in us is more and more we give time, more and more humble we become, more and more we work with cooperation. We'll have traits. There'll be some people who will pass some comments which will take us astray. This is going to happen. This is not that's why they say, if you remember, getting ISO standard, if it is difficult, maintaining that is even more difficult. Getting first initiation, second initiation, if it is difficult, but maintaining it with the right enthusiasm, with the right pursuit, the kind of questions you're asking is more difficult. So what that means is we have to have the natural uh, inclination to stay in Krishna consciousness, and there'll be a lot of challenges, but how to stay focused and not get disturbed by the challenges. Think that these challenges are interim in nature. Sitoshnu, Sukha Dukkada, exactly like it's like winter and summer, and it will go and come. But you just stay. Staying in Krishna consciousness is more important, and persisting that you may touch a lot of uh, devotees and you will spread, like exactly like how you're doing when your book distribution scores are coming. Just staying, you may not have the best KC days, Krishna conscious days, but come weekend, you and Vimal Prabhu going out and distributing one or two books, you're touching people's hearts. So staying in Krishna consciousness is more important. And someday you have good days, and someday it's fine. It's Krishna's prasadam to you. Was that okay, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, very nice answer.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Prabhu, my heart have it full of impurities. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we all have, Prabhu, and it's a matter of that's why life is a preparation, death is an examination, and no one knows the examination date. So it's a preparation. We all are preparing to be Krishna consciousness at various different levels. You're very uh, clear in your. Some people, we all have it. Some people say it's better to share your heart with a devotee in a forum like this. So it makes you feel good that we have miles to go. All right, very nice, Prabhu. keep that humility intact. Any other comments? Otherwise, we can end here.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, All Glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice, Prabhuji. I have a general question, somewhat related to this, but based on my experience. So today something happened. Today two ladies came to my door. They knocked the door, and when I opened it, they said that they are preaching the Bible and they're from the church. And they just showed me one text, and they said they will discuss more about it and so time. If I'm interested, they gave me a card and all that. Then I told them, they asked me, do you read Bible? And I told them, I read Bhagavad Gita. Then they said, is that your religious book? Then I told them that this is basically the science of kind of, we can, science of living, and this is the gospel that the Lord kind of told to his disciple, and you should read it. You should at least read the introduction. I gave that Bhagavad Gita to them, and I told them, see, if you read this, I mean, you will understand your purpose of life. I mean, I know I have read Bible and it is similar to it. I mean, the teachings are similar. When I was a kid, I studied in a Adventist school. So I've read verses, I've studied it throughout my life, and Bhagavad Gita resembles it. So basically I gave them the book, but and then they left. They said, yeah, sure, thank you. And they left. But then because you were mentioning about the teacher, I just wanted to understand, I mean, if in future such kind of what do we say incident happens, and what should I tell them? They don't have any idea what is Bhagavad Gita, who's Krishna. They just know Jesus Christ. What should be our message to them?
Okay. So did you receive the Bhagavad Gita and keep it from them? Bible from them and keep it at home?
No, they were not distributing
Okay.
the Bible. They were just spreading that they will have a session on so
Sure.
and so time.
Yeah. So something similar has happened to me, and they knocked at my door, and they gave me a Bible. I kept it, actually. So the reason why I want to say this is our movement is based on compassion. Srila Prabhupada has said, go to the Sikh community gurudwaras and learn how to make rotis. And our method of spiritualism is not to defy of any religion per se. Srila Prabhupada said, if somebody reads Bhagavad Gita, if he is a Muslim, he will become a better Muslim. If he is practicing Christianity, he'll become a better Christian. So our movement is not based on that. So we should not disrespect anyone for that. So you having taken care of them is good. If our intent is not to push Bhagavad Gita, but if they can get benefited, if you want to give them the knowledge, the transcendental knowledge, which is written, which is translated by Srila Prabhupada and spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and if you end up giving to them as a free copy, it's absolutely fine. The reason why it is good is, who knows at what point in time that Bhagavad Gita may come handy to them. There are many past times, in Australia, a person was about to do suicide, and when he was about to do suicide, he got hold of this book which was given in one of the Rath Yatras or whatever, like 10-20 years back. His wife had left, his kids left, he lost his job, but then he was about to leave his body, but he saw and he read, and then he joined a temple and became a devotee. So the teachings of Bhagavad Gita are transcendental. That means it transcends the modes of material nature, and it is not a single word Hindu written in Bhagavad Gita as such. So if you are able to inspire somebody to give Bhagavad Gita, great. And if they are giving you some material, we are not supposed to disrespect anyone. and we should continue in that sense. And once they see brightness in our method, they will always come back. So whenever people are not coming, that means either we are not doing the way we should be presenting ourselves, our movement, our concepts, our philosophy, and more they see the goodness, they will come to us. Did I answer your question, or I was just talking around?
No, Prabhuji, that has basically, but I mainly want to understand that how do we kind of convey that message in terms of, I mean, if I want to say what is Bhagavad Gita in 2 lines, what should I say? What should I tell them? I mean, I told them that I didn't say that this is our religious book. I just said this is a science. This book will have the science of kind of life. It will teach you how to live. What should I say?
Yes. So the 2 sentences you would say that Bhagavad Gita is a sacred text which was written millions of years ago, and it transcends religion. And anybody, if you end up reading this Bhagavad Gita, it may change your life. Give life a chance by taking Bhagavad Gita. It was 3 sentences, but I hope.
Wow. Sure, Prabhuji. I will.
Thank you.
Keep it. Thank you. Thank you.
Krishna. Thank you. Any other thoughts? So it's close to 8, Prabhu. We can end here. Samyasur Prabhu, take it away and let's end here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Hema Jagannath Pr. Yeah, I also, Shweta Motherji, also have, these people comes to home. They are actually taking this as a mission. If you go to the train station, if you go to the bus stop, maybe different shops, they not only comes once, they come many times. Maybe one after another, one after another, one after another. I won't say the name, but one of our now, the Krishna conscious family, lives in Plainsboro. So these people, when they're home and they are interested in beginning, they are very wonderful devotees now. So they used to go to church. They used to go to church because of this. They came to their home and they invited. We show our nice, compassion, nice way of, treating everybody equally, and that's our strength. But their intention is to take advantage of it. So what happens? They will keep calling, and they went there for some time. That's the time somehow they came to, know about Bhagavad Gita or our satsang, and they didn't like after some time. Anyway, right? So then they got our Krishna conscious devotees, they met, and then they started to come to our, the Bhakti Risha, and come to the temple, and they are now aspiring, and they are so wonderful devotees now. So there are some people they usually take advantage of and the weakness, and if they come and ask the question, right, there is nowadays, this is the way of conversion. Nowadays, there is a many discussion going on that how people are trying to convert. The first thing they ask about, they question us. They ask lots of questions to us that why is like that? Why Lord Ram, left alone Sita, Mother Sita in the forest? Why Hanuman has a tail? Why you are worshipping such monkeys? So many questions they ask. So they make us confused in such a way that they know that we don't know anything about, our own scripture. They start to ask the question in so many ways. So then when they understand that we don't know, that we don't know about our religion, we don't know about our scripture, we don't know about our dharma, they start to take advantage of it. So it's one way of seeing it. Beware of them. Yes, it's good to show our compassion, our nice way of treating people, everybody. But there are so many incidents that is the way of conversion. So then what we need to do actually, as you did the right thing, and we need to also conversant with our scriptures, and also very important that we discuss this in our family. We teach, we at least every day that we this is where that our children, most of our 99% of the families are not aware of what is our religion, and everybody else take the advantage of it. And so many people coming back after they cheated. There is a big discussion is going on in India. It's called the Kerala story. It's a kind of documentary or a kind of a movie. I was reading in this newspaper, and they're showing this all how people are, how especially Hindus are converted in such a trap. It's very important that we all take up Bhagavad Gita and read or discuss in our home, and also hand over or transfer this transfer knowledge to them. We take some time to do that in every day in our life. It's very, very important. That's why we also started these classes. Very important that we understand our scripture and this wonderful science. Yes, you did a wonderful thing. That exactly, that's this is what it is. When they ask for us, do you know Bible? Yes, we know Bible. We have the Bible. Also, we also have the Bhagavad Gita. We also read that, and we don't need to argue anything. We don't need to challenge anything. But you did. Yes, you can also read this one. If they give us a Bhagavad Gita, Bible, we also give that Bhagavad Gita to them. And this is also a wonderful text and talks about the Krishna consciousness or God consciousness. They may not understand. So then they will, kind of. So then they know that we also know, we are not so ignorant. So they are taking advantage of the ignorance of us. It's always be beware of a little bit that most important thing is actually we take up this in our family every day and talk about all this, our culture, our value. Now US government is appreciating, why Indians are so successful, why Indians are the diverse rate in Indian community is very less compared to the total 33% of the maybe 33 or 40 Indian community. That diverse rate is so low, like just 1%. Why there is a big study out there how the Indian community is so successful, and their family structure, their culture, and the family values they give at the time they spend with the children, and children are most successful in all areas. This is all because of our inbuilt our cultural values or our sanskar that we follow through. So now everybody's recommending just be like Indian, things like that. So yeah, so it's very, very wonderful that we all very well versed with our own scripture first before we preach everybody or teach anybody. We should discuss our scriptures in our family most of the time. We should teach our children the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam or Mahabharata. It's a wonderful, wonderful text. It gives wonderful life to each and everyone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
If I'm permitted, I'd like to share some thoughts, Prabhu.
Yes, please go ahead.
This is a very deep subject, and it has to be handled with a lot of care.
Yeah.
It can become sectarian, us versus them. So one point is, Prabhu, it is not our dharma. We belong to the Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma is not ours. Sanatan Dharma is universal. Whether Hindu, Muslim, Christian, whatever are these different faiths. And each faith has its own method of realizing themselves and their relationship with Krishna. Of course, some will call him Allah, some call him Christ, Yahweh, whatever be the name, it doesn't matter. Now, only difference is that I'm using the word "our," that the Sanatan Dharma is the most detailed and systematic. Now, the other faith, they are exclusive. It's only this and nothing else. But that's not the case with Sanatan Dharma. And since that is the case, you could have many from different faith who will then try to, what they say, convert, like this Kerala files and so many other love jihad, this, that. either through sword, which happened in the past, either you become my faith or I'll kill you, or it was through economic means, the poor and the destitute, where there was an abuse in the Varnashram system, and it was by birth, and the lower births were abused, so they turned to different faith. So that was that conversion principle. Whereas over here, it is not conversion. Through knowledge, we cut all the ignorance. And what is that verse? You'll know better, Prabhu, that Pandita Samadarshana. So, when we encounter, and there will be people knocking on our doors or meeting us in public places or wherever, doesn't matter. And someone may give us a Bible, and a response is, thank you very much. Like I'm alluding to your point which you made, Prabhuji, is, I have my book which answers all the questions that I have, but I respect what you're doing. End of the day, he's also spreading the word of God. The risk is, if I take a Bible, then I'm still not very well versed in the Sanatan Dharma, or as you rightly pointed out, the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, Bhagavad Gita is one of the texts of Sanatan Dharma. And then there would be confusion, because the details provided in Bhagavad Gita may not necessarily match up with Bible or Quran. They're talking about the same thing. And that confusion can lead to more serious situations on the practices, sadhana, that we're trying to do. So it is kind of, unless, of course, there's a certain level of maturity through practices and knowledge that we do, that you can very well understand. And there are devotees who read even the Bible, or they're familiar with the Bible or the Quran. And that's when they start seeing the similarities. Otherwise, these differences would only confuse us. So this is where first point is that we belong to Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma is universal, and what somebody else is doing is based on exclusivity. Either it is my way or no way. What you're doing is wrong. Whereas Sanatan Dharma recognizes every living entity. So that's what I wanted to share, Prabhuji. Yeah. And of course, you have to. It's incumbent. I think you were the one who mentioned in many classes. I remember, Prabhu, almost every home of any other faith have their scriptures, and they also read it and study it. Yeah. It is only the so-called Hindu, quote unquote Hindu, who don't have even a simple Bhagavad Gita. Yep. Or even a Hanuman Chalisa. Okay, just 40 texts. 800 million or 900 million people, and that ratio is very, very low. And you rightly said that's how advantage is taken. Yep. It's very. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing those. Yes. We should be each and every one of us has the responsibility and obligations to our dharma, because of that dharma makes us like this. Each one of us read and understand and study. Srila Prabhupada says that we should all study Bhagavad Gita, not just read. There is a big difference between reading and studying. Studying means thoroughly understanding the Bhagavad Gita, what Lord said. So we all should do that. That's why this systematic study of Bhagavad Gita. We should study Bhagavad Gita, study scriptures, not just read. Always study Bhagavad Gita, what it is mentioned, what it is actually understood, underlying meaning of each and every verse. Each and every word is so much a portion of knowledge. So that's what we need to do in our life, and that's the way it should also give it to our children, our whoever is near and dear. So it's all, like charity begins from home, that everything begins from the home.
that we should make sure that at least we hand over or, transferred this transcendental knowledge to our children in all respect. Yes, it's a little challenging, and we should spend some time, at least couple of days in a week, at least possible every day, probably in the evening, and try to hear, not too much, too much indulge and immerse into this material activities. It's just make vulgar of it. That's where everybody is taking advantage of it. It's one of the best, one of the best for everybody. It's not spreading any hatred, seeing everybody equally compassionate, most compassionate, and treating everybody with valued and respect, and seeing everybody equally as part of the Lord. And that also why we pray for them. Like Srila Prabhupada said, if you read this Bhagavad Gita, you'll become a better Christian. If you understand this, you'll become a better Muslim. You're not converting or anything like that. But, some people are challenging, and they have some kind of, I know that I'm personally involved with it, actually, so much of into it. I know that when I was in Mumbai, we have a very religious, very much well-versed in our scriptures, in a very beautiful religious family, a girl with us, actually working with us. And they had this plan. The one guy actually came as a Christian. He started to make, kind of interest with this girl. And finally, somehow, this girl also attracted to this person. And then they kind of very much, and she was very religious. Then what happened? Finally, he put an agreement condition that if you convert to my religion, I will marry you. But she was very much mad with that, all those things. Then what happened? She converted. So later I came to know that, there was a pastor. He was getting some 25,000 rupees, that if you do convert this person like this into their religion, each person who is, in between, they get the like different money and rupees like this. So, but once she went there and she came to know that what is this all about, she also thought that it's also nice, same religion, things like the only thing like that. But once she went there in their home, and so much torture, so much of, then after 1 month, 2 months, and they were forcing, and they were forcing to, go to their prayer, go to their church, and now she cannot wear anything, she cannot put a bindi, she cannot cook any vegetables, or she cannot even do anything, even there is a festival, she was well versed with our culture. Then what happened finally? Then they were torturing like anything. And then after 1 or 2 years, then she had to come back to her house. And seeing this, his father was so, from a Brahmin family, father was so much disappointed. And finally that father committed suicide. They were from Chennai. And it's so shocked. And, so much of things. So religion, when we try to understand all those things, what happens, many people, it's just a kind of, to make, more numbers of the people, and they really don't understand what is actually religion. They all wanted to show off, but this is what it's very, very important that we teach our children, and whoever is, that very important, we at least follow this in our home and the family. This is very, very important. There's so much of things like this. Just an example which I personally experienced and saw how these sentimental things works. Many people, it's just a sentimental thing. They don't understand what is the real meaning of religion. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that. So it's very important. We all should, study Bhagavad Gita, study our scriptures very well. Take some time, Okay. Yeah, thank you for brought that wonderful discussion. We are nearing our, Bhagavad Gita, and also we will, after this, we'll begin with the nectar of devotion. That's also a little higher than, once we have all that all this knowledge, transcendental knowledge, then it's also important that how we can properly apply to our life, so that life will have a different level of, the spiritual or transcendental or transcends, or how that comes to our life. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So we'll end it here.
Mr. Pro, just a small request if possible. After this Bhagavad Gita, can we take the Ishopanishad?
Ishopanishad. Yeah, we can do that. No problem. Yeah. Now I'll also check with our senior leaders as well. What is best. Yeah, Ishopanishad is also very wonderful, powerful text. So much to understand from the Ishopanishad. Yeah,
Because I see as per even Bhakti Shastri first recommended the Ishopanishad. So this is the beginning then.
Yeah, we'll confirm that much. What is
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we have a book from Prabhupada has written on Upanishad?
Yes, Ishopanishad, yes, Mataji, we do have.
Okay.
We have in temple, yes. It's a book called Ishopanishad in English, translated by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Okay, then I will buy it when I come to the temple.
Yeah, and I would recommend all of you, those who are the aspirants, those who are the serious students of this devotion, have these books: Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction, Ishopanishad, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and the Journey of Self-Discovery and Science of Self-Realization. Very, very wonderful. It's really gives the nectar. Everybody should have these books. Yeah. Yeah. So when we start our next topic, subject, then everybody should please have these books.
Prabhu, can you write it and post it?
Yeah, I will write it and post it in our group page.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So very nice, wonderful. Thank you so much, Hema Jagannath Prabhu. All your devotees, so serious, wonderful.
And can I get you were supposed to send me a link about this Bhagavad Gita, which I have missed a lot. I just started 2 months ago. So do you have all the recordings so I can listen?
Yes. We do have in the YouTube, Mataji. All these are past recordings from 2000 when.
Okay, so I need a link so I can
Yeah,
go to
we'll send you the link. I think Namru Prabhu is here, right? Namru Prabhu, we have that link, right? All the YouTube. Yeah, it is active. Yeah, Mataji, we'll send it out. I'll take up that. I'll send it out through through our groups, WhatsApp group, and so that everybody will have it. Those who are missed.
Yeah, it's in the group description. The link. Yeah, it's in the group description. The first link.
Is there actually?
Yeah.
That's a Zoom link, Mataji.
No, there's a YouTube link also. In our ICNJ Japathan, if we click on the group info.
Group info, okay. Let me see.
Yes, Prabhuji. So in the group description, which actually I had put, we have the Bhagavad Gita link, Srimad Bhagavatam Zoom link in the morning, Monday to Friday.
Right,
we have the
Humble YouTube channel. Yes.
YouTube channel link, and also we have the darshan timings link. So if you really want to share that information with your friends, people look for darshan timings. Those key pieces of information are in the Sri Radha Samsundar and Japathan group description. I put it long back. So in the morning, if you're looking for the link to John Srimad Bhagavatam class, you don't have to look any further. Just go to the description.
Okay. Let me also copy that and send it to the Can you send that out to Proji, all our groups, YouTube channel and timings and all those? Yeah. This way. Okay. Yeah. So our YouTube channel is there, Mataji. If you look for all the videos,
All
and
right.
you can see that all those. Yeah. Okay. Very good. So also, anybody has any suggestions? That is a wonderful suggestion. Anybody else has other suggestions that what we should do, or what you suggest? Any improvements? Any that we should apply? Any other suggestions that?
Prabhu, I was thinking, if I can make this suggestion, whatever book we take up next, no? So periodically, I don't know, maybe after a fortnight or a month, 3 months, whatever, just have a revision session. Like taking, so let's say if we do it every 2 weeks or 1 month. So one class we can do it is whatever was covered in that period, a revision of the main points and theme. So that way it kind of gets a little deeper. Otherwise, of course, we are attending the classes and the revision, etc., is left individually. So if we all like Bhagavad Gita, you finish one chapter, then you know what is the essence of that chapter. And of course, ready-made tools are available like the Bhagavad Gita notes. So discussion around that one class and then start the next chapter like that. So I feel it will help us make it deeper.
It's very true. We used to do that earlier, right? And what happens again, right? This after some time it's all forgets, right? But yes, I mean it's true. We should do that. Go deep. I mean, I was thinking that again. Probably before we start the next class, probably we can go back the summary of each chapter the next 18 days.
Yeah.
Of each chapter, and probably then we'll come back to that summary of the first section. Then summary of the, like 4 yogas, right? And then
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
we should do that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, summary of the entire then Bhagavad Gita, like summary of each chapter up to 18 days. Then summary of the sections, what is Karma Yoga, the deep understanding of it, right? So then we come to that summary of each yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Karma Yoga. Then once we come to that, finalizing that, okay, this is the summary of Bhagavad Gita, right? Also thinking like that. What do you all think? Is it good?
If you do it right now from a first chapter to 18th chapter, summary one by one for 18 weeks, I would love to hear that.
18 days. We should finish 18 days. Like how the Kurukshetra war is finished in 18 days. Right.
Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
Dandavat Pranam to everyone, Prabhu. I am thinking that if we are going to finish that Bhagavad Gita, so whoever joining in this class, so if you want once a week, at least one verse, every member can explain what they understand and what their opinion. So that will be the good idea, right?
Good idea. I like that. So everybody can take up this and they can come and explain. I mean, it's not forcing anybody, but anybody would like to come and discuss what are the most, like little review of the Bhagavad Gita. Yes, of course, that's very good. So what we will do, probably we'll go with the summary, and summary after that we'll take a couple of, classes just to review and the feedback and the realizations and understanding, all those. That's what is you meant, right, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. So basically understanding. We are listening right now.
Yeah.
So one verse will take once a week, and I think one person, and at least explain that what he understood or what she understood. So
Really?
other participate.
Yeah. Yeah. Very nice. Very good. Yeah. Very good suggestions. Yeah. So this way it's more interactive, and also that, it's always good to have, then that will really goes into the heart.
Recording in progress.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Yeah. Anything else? Any other suggestions? Just go ahead if you think lots of devotees are here. Please open up. How did you feel? And you're getting closer. What is needed? What is required? Anything that which you'd like to open up? Okay, so thank you so much. I think it's also getting high time. So if nothing else, let's conclude then, right? Okay. Thank you all, dear devotees. Thank you, HG Jagannath Pr. Let's conclude. Pray
Thank
to
you,
the
Hema Jagannath Pr.
Vancha Kalpatarubhashya.
Kalpatarubhyascha, Sindhubhyavacha,
Paditanam Bhavebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namaha.
Vaishnavanda ki jai. Shakadeva Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananda Kodi Vaishnava ki jai.
Jai.
Vimanande Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, everyone.